Good morning, everybody. It's just me, Kate, on a beautiful Friday here in the Northeast. I don't really know what happened to Wisdom Wednesday. Clearly, I blew through Thursday's thought. And when I awoke this morning, I thought, I need to connect. So here we are on the Friday before Mother's Day weekend. I chose a quote this week about vulnerability that I thought tied in nicely. I was watching a podcast from Brene Brown. Many of you know who she is. If you don't, I highly recommend that you look her up because she has so many great thoughts and insight about just life and people in general. I find it very real and relatable. Here's your quote. Vulnerability is the birthplace of joy, creativity, of belonging, and of love. And the reason I chose it this week, because coming up on Mother's Day, there's two things that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, first off, my own children, about being their mother and just how much I love them, how much joy they bring me every day. The second item is I'm thinking about my own mother and how special she is. She's been with me my whole life and what makes her special. And part of what makes her special is the vulnerability piece. As I look back on things, it's always been my mother that has given me so much emotional support. And when you're faced with a challenge, something that you have to do, or maybe you're blindsided in school or in your work, I would always come home or I would always make a phone call, and just hearing my mother's voice, seeing my mother, would just bring these tears. Like, oh, thank heavens, I can let down my guard. Totally vulnerable. And that's so special, and it's so important in shaping who we are, is that piece of vulnerability. That person, for me, happens to be my mother, and I'm sure many of you, it's your mom, who you can just let down your guard. No matter what, you know that you're going to be embraced with open arms. They are going to accept all of the faces of you, even when you aren't showing your best face. They're there listening, supporting. For me, my mother never told me. She helped guide me. She was solid in her foundation of her beliefs and her thoughts, and we talked through things, usually with tears, but I always felt that it was okay to be vulnerable in front of her. And as a result, I've always felt that I've belonged with my parents, with my family, and my mother is a big cornerstone of that relationship. So as we come up on Mother's Day, which is this Sunday, I'm sure a lot of you are going to reach out to your moms, whether they're biological, whether they're adopted, or maybe they're just that figure in your life that you consider to be the definition of mother, and show them that you love them. They're important to you, and that you appreciate the fact that they accept you. I hope you all have a great weekend. It's beautiful here in the Northeast today. It's a little chilly, but that's to be expected the first part of May. We never know what we're going to get, and I think in some areas there might be some snow. But I wanted to leave you with those thoughts about vulnerability and how it ties into your mother and how it all relates back to you and the relationships that you have in your life. Take care, everyone. I'll see you next week.